Hello everybody, welcome to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. My name is Samantha Genzer. I'm going to be your show host for you guys today. We have a very exciting episode for you guys. We're going to be covering the drama around Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, MMA chaos in Romania, and Kayla Harrison claiming to become the GOAT, the most outstanding players in past softball World Series, those that are invited to the Olympic Gymnastics Trials, and make sure you stay till the end to hear about the PWHL draft. Before we begin, I wanted to ask you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. We also do get a lot of questions that come in from viewers during the show, so to make sure that your comments and questions get read on the air, I ask that you use the link gsmcpodcast.net. This puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them, and of course it really does help the show, and we really do appreciate it. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net. Now, let's get started. I hope you guys enjoy today's content. Okay, so today we're going to be starting with a segment that I am very excited to talk about, Reese challenging focus on Clark amidst their rivalry. So, we're just going to get right into it. With Caitlin Clark helping increase interest in women's basketball and having a lot of high-scoring games, there has been a lot of drama surrounding Clark. During Monday's show, we talked about the game Chicago Sky v. Indiana Fever, where Clark got fouled by Kennedy Carter, and then Angel Reese stood up and applauded for the foul. This was a complete cheap shot by Carter, and it was very obvious not a basketball play and instead seemed to be more personal. But this isn't the first time that Angel Reese has shown some issues with Clark. And I mean by that she stood up and started applauding the cheap shot. So this is not the first time that we've seen there's been issues between the two of them. Reese has said multiple times that Clark cannot be solely credited for the interest in women's basketball, and I agree with that. A lot of new rookies and veterans have helped the interest increase, but Clark has done a lot since she has signed many deals and made her name known when she played for Iowa. Just for a little background information, Clark and Reese have always been rivals, and that has pretty much continued throughout the beginning of the WNBA season. Reese played for LSU while Clark played for University of Iowa, and they had many regular season matchups and tournament showdowns. The games between LSU and Iowa last year got a lot of attention for their rivalry, and the games were particularly intense with national media coverage and heightened fan interest, putting additional spotlight on their performances. They also have had issues on the court where there was a controversy that Reese was basically trash talking to Clark and the court, and then Reese got a lot of a backlash for it. Trash talking has always been a thing. It's not that big of a deal. It just has always been a thing in sports, but it does show their rivalry when they are playing against one another. I don't think it was fair that Reese got backlash for it, obviously, but that's a whole other issue. Clark and Reese have both said that their rivalry basically only exists on the court, and off the court they are friendly with one another. Their tension just exists because of both their passion for the sport and commitment to their teams. So, Clark has really done wonders for the interest in women's basketball and in women's sports in general, and many consider this the Caitlin Clark effect, and this effect has really made a difference in the sport for the future. Clark's massive popularity has attracted lucrative sponsorship deals for her and even an appearance on an episode of Saturday Night Live. An indicator of Clark's effect on interest in women's basketball can be gauged by TV ratings. For the first time ever, the NCAA's March Madness Championship game between Clark's Iowa and South Carolina drew a larger audience than the men's final game. But a few weeks later, when Clark was chosen to the WNBA draft by the Indiana Fever, the gap between the $78,000 she will earn and what a top NBA pick, at the time was Victor Wembanyama, would garner, which was $10.5 million, was more than shocking and was quite incredible. But here's something to note. Many of the top WNBA players are black women and women of color, which contributes to the inequality they face in media attention and pay. The fact that Caitlin Clark, who is white, is one of the top paid WNBA players has gained the attention of more than a few veteran players. Besides playing for her home state at the University of Iowa and then signing for Indiana, it is pretty normal to wonder if Clark's race is part of her enormous popularity at this moment. Then again, I will say that Clark's story captures the way this decade has been culturally and socially since her ascent to stardom, speaks to how fans are increasingly willing to pay to watch women's sports for their own value, which was a concept that was overlooked by many people. So because of this increase in interest and huge attention focused on Clark, Angel Reese reasonably feels she deserves some more respect on her name. After the game on Saturday, Reese said that she would always be considered the bad guy and that she's okay with it because it is helping increase the interest in the WNBA because of that rivalry and the drama, the tension, all of that. Still, Reese wants people to understand that the popularity surge in the WNBA is not only solely because of Clark. Reese said, "It's not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want you to realize that it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game. There are so many great players in the league that have deserved this for a really, really long time now, and luckily it's coming now." Reese also mentioned that women's basketball truly began getting more attention after LSU's national championship game victory over Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Reese said, "It all started from the national championship game. I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. Yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because local women's basketball is, people are talking about women's basketball that you never would think would be. People are pulling up the games. We have celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas." These comments sparked the latest WNBA controversy as many feel strongly about what Reese said. During a segment of Speak on FS1, show host Joy Taylor said Reese is correct, adding that nobody was talking about Kayla Clark until that game. Taylor says specifically, "She's not wrong. How did we get here? What she just said, the national championship game. We were not talking about Kayla Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this you can't see me gesture, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. We were not talking about Kayla Clark before that moment." As a rebuttal to this assertion from Taylor, many have resurfaced comments from NBA stars like LeBron James and Kevin Durant, who have been talking about Clark for several years. While Taylor may not have been talking about Clark until that LSU v. Ohio game, Iowa, I just said Ohio, LSU v. Iowa game, many in the basketball world were talking about Clark. Now, let me put my opinion out here. When answering the question, should Angel Reese deserve credit, I say yes, absolutely. She absolutely deserves credit for her contribution to the popularity and visibility of women's basketball. Her impact on the court, especially during high-profile games like the national championship, has been significant. Reese's ability to perform under pressure and her charismatic presence have drawn attention to the sport, helping to attract fans and media coverage. However, it's important to recognize that the growing interest in women's basketball is a result of efforts from many individuals, not just one or two stars. I think some veteran players have done wonders for increasing interest, like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Asia Wilson. They have been long ambassadors of the sport, pushing its boundaries and advocating for better pay media coverage. Also, when you look at things that are just things that are on the news, like Brittany Griner and that whole legal situation, that was getting attention for the legal scenario there, but it was also pushing attention for WNBA increase because she's mainly known for being in the WNBA. But all of those continued excellence and leadership has been instrumental in building the WNBA's profile. Also, if you aren't a big follower of the WNBA, there's a big chance that you have heard those three names before and Brittany Griner's names. They're very well known, and with that, they have helped gain popularity for the WNBA. Also, I think other stars that aren't really considered veterans, like Arike Angambawale and Sabrina Ionescu, have helped bring more attention. They have the fresh energy and big media image that have helped bring that popularity. And while Angel Reese's contribution is undeniable and important, the collective efforts of many players, coaches, and stakeholders across the sports industry have all played pivotal roles in raising the profile and popularity of women's basketball. Each of these contributions enhances the sport, making it richer and more vibrant. Now, when talking about if there is racism involved and how Clark receives more media attention, I think there is some. The media often reflects societal biases, potentially privileging white athletes like Clark in terms of visibility and marketing opportunities. This phenomenon is not unique to basketball, but is evident across various sports and entertainment industries. Within the underrepresented categories of women's sports, Black women frequently face even greater disparities in visibility, exacerbated by systematic issues within sports media that prioritize narratives based on perceived marketability, often intertwined with race. However, it's also important to acknowledge Caitlin Clark's significant achievements, such as leading the nation in scoring and assist, which naturally did attract attention. Addressing the disparity and attention requires understanding how systematic racism influences which achievements are highlighted. These efforts are crucial for ensuring that all athletes, regardless of background, receive fair coverage and opportunities, thus fostering a more inclusive sports culture. While it may not be explicitly racist that Clark receives more attention, this disparity is indicative of broader racial inequalities that need to be addressed in sports media and beyond. Someone just commented, people tend to explode over the smallest thing and it's ruining the WNBA's growth. Even in NBA history, when Larry Bird came into the league, which was predominantly African American, people were also upset about how he got attention over other players in the league because of his ethnicity. I do see that some of this drama I see both ways that this is helping and not helping. A lot of people who are more interested in seeing women's basketball for the basketball are obviously more upset that this is happening because it does distract from the fact that we're here to watch basketball. But then, of course, people who are not more interested in the sport and like to see drama unfold and see the systematic issues in society are interested in seeing this because of all of that is happening. So I kind of do see both sides here. But yeah, there does seem to be some small things that do be taken out of context, especially in things that have small issues that are just turned into bigger issues. But yeah, I think Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese both deserve credit for their contributions in increasing women's sports, but also it's a lot of other people, and there is a lot that goes into it. I could literally spend an hour talking about this because there is so much depth in this topic, but we are now going to move on to the next segment where we're going to talk about the MMA chaos in Romania and Kayla Harrison claiming to become the GOAT, the GOAT. Before we get into that, we are going to take a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the drama around Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and now we're going to talk about women's MMA. We have two things to talk about in this segment. First, we're diving into a bizarre MMA showdown that went down in Romania this week, and then we're going to talk about Kayla Harrison claiming that she will be the best UFC fighter. Before we get into all of this and the MMA showdown in Romania, I wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show and to become a part of our show to tip and donate using the link gsmcpodcast.net. This also puts your questions at the top of the list so that I see them and they get read on the air. Also, it really does help the show, and we really appreciate all of your support. And make sure you guys stay till the end of today's episode to hear about a mock draft for the PWHL. Now, let's begin. Okay, guys, so this is an interesting topic here. The weirdest MMA fight in Romania was videoed and went viral all over social media. Fans were very much baffled and concerned by the video. So the fight took place this week where one male fighter was against two women fighters inside the octagon. I was searching everywhere and I literally could not find the name of these fighters, so I sincerely apologize for not having the name of these fighters, but if you search up Romania fight 1 male v 2 females, I'm sure you can find the video. I also want to apologize for how blurry these photos are. Unfortunately, this was the best that I could do. So the man is much larger than both the females. He isn't very muscular in tone, but rather more on the heavier side, if that makes sense. The women fighters look very fit and toned, but they are much smaller, especially in height, than the man. Let's talk about how the fight went down. To begin with, the female fighters attempted to attack the man from either side, but he fought back and held his ground, knocking one of them to the floor. As he knocked the one down, the other female hit him from behind, but the man chased after her before she tumbled to the floor too. The male fighter managed to strike more blows as he enjoyed the better of the fight. Midway through, there was a standoff as all three attempted to get their breath back. The two females then launched a second attack, again from either side, but the man dealt with their blows and struck several of his own. The trio ended up in a tangle as the man repeatedly hit one of them while he was struck from behind by the other, but appeared unaffected. The second woman was then chased and knocked to the ground again before the clip of the fight ended with another standoff as the man leaned back on the octagon perimeter. A lot of fans and viewers took to social media to express their views on this bizarre fight. So here are some of the interesting quotes from social media accounts. 1, this definitely needs to be a new sport. 2, is that just a random man or a trained one? And 3, this is actually comedy. Specifically on Twitter or X, there were a lot of comments made of people saying this wasn't very fair or right. Some of the comments were, who thought this was a good idea? Romania is something else. This seems wrong. 5 still wouldn't have fared better against him. And this isn't even entertaining. I agree with those comments from Twitter. Watching this fight, I was super uncomfortable. I understand the concept of mixed MMA fights and when they are done right and the competition is appropriately and evenly matched, it's a great fight. But when you have something like this fight that was completely bizarre in the sense that this man was just twice the size of both the women and the fight was just more disorganized than a regular MMA fight that you typically see, I don't think it was very fair for these two women to go against this man that was much larger than them. He had a huge advantage right away from the start, and this doesn't show off their skill and give them an even playing field at all. There also wasn't much, I guess, form in a sense. It just seemed like 3 people just randomly fighting with each other. It was very bizarre. Also, you can't forget to mention that when it comes to mixed MMA fights, it has to be an even playing field because this can get very dangerous when they are not even playing fields. This just seems very strange, but also really dumb to have a fight like this, if I'm being completely honest. Diving deeper into this crazy MMA showdown in Romania, I gotta say it wasn't just the matchup that got people talking. The whole setup seemed something out of a bizarre alternate reality show rather than a professional fight. Now, thinking about the fight tactics, these ladies were really trying to work together, coordinating their attacks to try and take advantage of their numbers, but it was clear they were outmatched physically. It kind of played out like some kind of chaotic dance rather than a strategic battle. You've got to wonder about the rules and regulations that allowed this matchup to happen in the first place. Like, who approved of this? There is something fundamentally off when the weight and size differences are that noticeable. It raises a bunch of questions about the safety standards and what the organizers were thinking. Now, let's not ignore the athleticism of these fighters, especially the women. I want to just point that out. They showed guts stepping into the ring under such odd and challenging conditions. However, this kind of spectacle doesn't really prove anything in terms of skill or sport, I'll say. It's more of a curiosity, like something you might see and say, did that really happen? Moving forward, I hope the folks running these events take a step back and consider the implications of such matchups. It's crucial to maintain the integrity and safety of the sport, ensuring that all matchups are fair, safe, and respectful to the athlete's skills and well-being. I do recommend watching this fight, but I will be very honest, I was uncomfortable watching it. I was just like, okay, that's interesting. So yeah, watch it for the experience, I'll say. Now we're gonna switch into another topic about women's MMA. Kayla Harrison, she believes she will go down as the greatest female fighter of all time. That's a pretty big promise to make for yourself. After blasting through the competition under the PFL banner for years, Harrison made her UFC debut at the promotion's landmark event in April, scoring a second-round submission victory over former bantamweight title holder Holly Holm. The victory immediately thrust the two-time Olympic gold medalist into the division's top 10, occupying the number 6 slot and putting her in position to challenge for the 135-pound crown. Thus far, no announcements have been made regarding Harrison's sophomore appearance inside the octagon, but if she gets her wish, it'll be for a shiny new UFC belt. However, that's only part one of Harrison's two-part plan to become the GOAT of women's MMA. Specifically, Harrison said, "I'm going to go win the UFC title, lure Amanda Nunes back, beat the beep out of Amanda, and then I'm going to be the greatest of all time." Sorry, I had to say beep in the quote. She used some foul language that I'm not supposed to use on this channel, so I'm going to fill in those spots with me saying the word beep. Just a little FYI, because I'm going to say some other quotes that she has, and she does use some foul language in there. With wins over some of MMA's biggest stars, including Valentina Shevchenko, Ronda Rousey, Miesha Tate, Chris Cyborg, Holly Holm, Juliana Pena, and current bantamweight champion Raquel Pennington, it's hard to argue against Nunes being the best fighter the sport has ever seen on the women's side of things. After claiming and defending both the bantamweight and featherweight belts, the Lioness laid down her gold and her gloves following a dominant defense against Irene Aldana in 2023, bringing an end to her 15-year-long career. However, Nunes has left the door open for a potential return. Last month, PFL found Don Davis threw some shade at his former star, calling Kayla Harrison a follower who needs validation, via a basketball analogy using NBA stars LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Responding to Davis's comments, Harrison reasonably snapped back, making it clear that while she takes pride in what she accomplished in the PFL, her goal from day one was to become a UFC champion. Harrison said, "Honestly, I'm living my best life. I take great pride in what I built at the PFL. I carried that company on my back for quite a while, and I've got big shoulders so I can handle it. I just don't have time for that beep. Every day I wake up, I get to go to the gym, I get to train with the people that I respect, admire, and look up to. I'm chasing a dream. When I started the MMA, the goal wasn't to make a beep ton of money. I'm so sorry, I just read that wrong. When I started the MMA, the goal wasn't to make a beep ton of money. That goal wasn't to be rich and famous. The goal was to be a UFC champion. That's why I'm here, and that's what I'm going to do. If anyone has a problem with it, they can go beep themselves." You guys can fill in what the beeps mean. Kayla Harrison's statement about becoming the greatest female fighter is bold, but she's got the chops and the attitude to back it up. Smashing through the competition and taking down names like Holly Holm right out of the gate in UFC just shows she's not here to mess around. She's eyeing that UFC belt and even aiming to pull Amanda Nunes out of retirement for a dream showdown. It's clear that Kayla Harrison is living her dream, unbothered by the critics, and focused solely on her path to greatness. This kind of fiery determination and focus is exactly what makes her such a compelling figure in MMA. She's not just fighting opponents, she's fighting expectations and doing it on her own terms, which I admire a lot. So, buckle up. Kayla Harrison's journey is only getting started here, and if her start is anything to go by, we're in for some incredible moments. Whether she'll reach that GOAT status she's so fiercely after, we'll just have to watch and see, but one thing's for sure, it's going to be a wild ride. I do really admire her confidence, and someone was just mentioning the beep in the comments. Thank you guys for saying that you love the air quotes. I am very sorry for having to cross out those beeps there. But yeah, I appreciate Harrison's big confidence here. I think, especially with MMA, you have to be confident in order to be, the next GOAT and, be one of the best fighters out there. You really have to have that confidence. And I admire that at Kayla Harrison. It's going to be interesting to see this. It's going to be a wild ride, that's for sure. Okay, we are now going to move into the next segment where we're going to talk about the most outstanding players in the Women's College World Series in the past 20 years. Before we begin, we are going to be taking a very short break, so I will see you guys very soon.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about some MMA stuff, very interesting things going on there. And now, in honor of the Softball World Series going on right now, I thought it would be cool to talk about the most outstanding players in the World Series in the last 20 years. Now, because that's a lot of people, we are just going to go ahead and get right started here. Okay, let me pull up some pictures. Okay, so first up, we have Jade Carey from last year. She played for the University of Oklahoma. She didn't allow a single run in 24.2 innings during the World Series. She spent a complete Game 2 hit shutout in Game 1 of the championship series against Florida State, and then she fired 3 hitless innings in Game 2 and closed out the Oklahoma Sooners' third straight title win. From 2022, also from the University of Oklahoma, we have Jocelyn Alo. She is the career home run record holder and went 12 for 18 with 5 home runs and 13 RBI in the 2022 World Series. She's a 2-time USA Softball Player of the Year, and at the World Series, she hit 2 home runs in Game 1 of the championship series, and then following by going 1-3 in Game 2 with a run scored. She finished the championship series 4-6 with 3 RBIs. In 2021, it was Giselle Juarez, also from the University of Oklahoma. She pitched the first 2 games in the 2019 World Series Championships, losing Game 1 and Game 2 after allowing 7 runs on 15 hits through 10.2 innings. But after 2 years, she pitched the best game of her career to secure at Oklahoma the 2021 title. She allowed just 2 hits and noticed 7 strikeouts in Game 2, which was a 5-1 victory over Florida State University. Throughout the tournament, she dished out 38 strikeouts. In 2019, it was Rachel Garcia from UCLA. Her path to the 2019 World Series Finals pivoted during the June 2nd semifinal game against number 3 Washington. She had 16 strikeouts in 10 innings, and her walk-off 3-run home sent Garcia and UCLA to the finals. She had another home run in Game 1 of the finals. It was a fairy tale ending to her season. She ended her World Series career with a 5-0 record, 1.75 ERA, and 33 strikeouts. She also hit 2 home runs and had 8 RBIs and 5 walks. From Florida State, it was Jessie Warren in 2018. I was about to say Jessie Knight. Whoa, that was bad. Jessie Warren in 2018, tying a World Series record of 13 hits. Florida State's Jessie Warren had a .52 batting average, 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBI, and 6 runs scored in the World Series. She helped lead her team to the first World Series championship series. During Game 1, Warren hit a pair of doubles, then preserved the 1-0 lead with a 7th inning diving catch off a sac bunt attempt. Warren batted 3 for 4 with a home run, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored in Game 2. The 8-3 win over Washington gave Florida State its first World Series championship. In 2017, Shay Knighton from Oklahoma was an outstanding player. She came in clutch countless times during Oklahoma's 2017 title run. She hit .35 with 8 RBI in Oklahoma City. Game 1 of the finals, Knighton knocked a go-ahead 3-run home run in the 17th inning. Game 2 followed with her go-ahead 3-1 double. Knighton then cruised to a career-best 12-game hitting streak through every game of the 2016 postseason. In 2016, Paige Parker, also from the University of Oklahoma, stood out. As a sophomore, she led the nation in wins, placed second in shutouts, and was 10th in strikeouts. And that same year, Parker won the 2016 World Series Most Outstanding Player after pitching 7 innings of 1-run ball to beat Auburn University for the championship. From the University of Florida, Lauren Hagar was a very much loved and outstanding player in 2015. Her batting average at Her batting average at .571 or 571. I typically say .571. I don't know why. Okay, I'm sorry. Her batting average at .571 helped the Gators to their first back-to-back national championships. From the circle, she dominated with 24 consecutive victories to start the 2015 season. She ended the year with a 32-2 record and 1.23 ERA and had 19 home runs and 17 RBIs. Even more impressive, she joined Babe Ruth as the only D1 softball, D1 baseball, or Major League Baseball players to reach 70 career victories and 70 career home runs. In 2015, we have Hannah Rogers from the University of Florida also. She needed only 80 pitches to lift Florida over Alabama in Game 1 of the 2014 World Series Finals. Her save in Game 2 clinched Florida's first title, ending her NCAA tournament career with a .64 ERA. In 2013, it was University of Oklahoma's Kalani Ricketts. Number 1 seeds don't always reach the World Series Finals, but number 1 Oklahoma, led by Ricketts, won the championships in an exasperating battle with Tennessee. Game 1 went 12 innings, ending on Lauren Chamberlain's 2-run walk-off home run. Ricketts then drove in all of Game's 2 runs, including her 50th career home run to clinch the 2013 championship and punctuate her career-best 21-game win streak. Ricketts ended the 2013 season with a top 5 NCAA record for a single season. Jackie Traina from the University of Alabama was a standout player in the 2012 World Series. She threw every World Series pitch for Alabama. In the semifinals, she threw a 2-hitter and batted 2 for 3 with a home run. She went 2 for 3. She went 2 for 4. She went 2 for 4 with 3 RBI in the Game 2 finals win over Oklahoma and drove in the series winning run into Game 3. Thanks to Traina, Alabama became the first SEC team to become World Series champions. In 2011, so there's 2 here, by the way. Both Dallas Escobedo from Arizona State University and Michelle Moultrie from the University of Florida were the most outstanding players. Escobedo and Florida's Michelle Moultrie secured the honor after ducking it out in the championship series. Escobedo hurled 35 innings, allowing 12 earned runs, 27 hits, 19 walks, and striking out 38 batters during the 2011 postseason. She's just the second freshman to win the Most Outstanding Player award. And then Moultrie batted .542 in the same span, going 13 for 27 with 4 home runs and 7 RBIs. In 2019, that was crazy. In 2010, Megan Landerfield from UCLA was the most outstanding player, as UCLA would not have clinched the title without her, for real. Her 12 for 17 performance was the second best total for one World Series. Her slugging percentage at 1.529 set a World Series record, and she also went 3-0 in the circle with 17 strikeouts and 24 and 2/3 innings of work. Let me say that better. 24 and 2/3 innings. There we go. That makes more sense. Field's performance became Bruins lore when she homered twice, one of which was a walk-off in extras in Game 1 of the World Series Finals. And I can't forget to mention that she had another home run in Game 2. Moving on to 2009, Danielle Lowry from Washington. She shut out 7 of the top 10 teams in the NCAA tournament, including number 1 Florida in Game 1 of the finals when she struck out 12 of the Gators players. She went 2 for 3 with an RBI to secure the national championship in the World Series, and she also pitched to a 3-2 win over Florida in Game 2. In 2008, Katie Buckhart from Arizona State won the honor. She pitched back-to-back shutouts against Texas A&M in the championship series. Her 13 strikeouts in Game 2 tied the record for most in a championships game and ultimately led the Sun Devils to their World Series title. She finished her senior year with a .75 ERA and 41-5 record. In 2007, we have Taryn Mowat from the University of Arizona. Taryn Mowat pitched 8 complete games, tossed 60 innings, and threw 1,035 pitches over the 7-day World Series stretch in 2007 when she was the only Wildcat to pitch. Her tough workload to several World Series records, including 6 victories, 60 innings pitched, 76 strikeouts, and 8 complete games. Alicia Hollowell, also from the University of Arizona, was the most outstanding player in 2006. She started both semifinal games against Tennessee and both finals games against Northwestern. Through those 27 innings, Hollowell allowed 1 run over 15 hits, 9 of those in Game 2 of the finals. She also struck out, why? That's not even close to correct. She also struck out 45 batters in that span. Hollowell ended the year with a .89 ERA, which only became her second highest season ERA over her 4-year period. Someone just said in the comments, Samantha, we need you to do a 2-hour show from now on. That is really funny. I don't think I could talk that much for 2 hours. I really don't. I think I would lose my voice. Every single day I lose my voice from an hour of talking, and I think 2 hours would absolutely kill my voice. But you know what? That'd be fun. Also, someone said, where's your Oklahoma hat? I'm not even gonna lie, for the World Series, I'm kind of rooting for Texas. I know. That's pretty bad. I mean, I'm kind of like, I would be happy either way if Oklahoma or Texas won, but because Oklahoma already has 3 consecutive wins, I want Texas to take home this win. And I feel like they haven't gotten much wins in the past World Series, so this would be great for them. So, that is who I'm rooting for. Moving on to the iconic Samantha Findlay from the University of Michigan. In 2005, she was the most outstanding player. Before advancing to the championship series, Findlay went 2 for 3 with a 2 RBI double and the 4-0 second round win over Texas. She then drove in all 4 runs in Game 2 of the championship series, including 3 RBI in the 10th inning to break the tie and win the title 4-1. Findlay slugged .725 with 17 RBI and .4 average throughout the NCAA tournament. She was the first freshman and first baseman to earn the most outstanding player honor. Also, I like to mention that the last 20 years, there has not been a Texas most outstanding player. So I think like if they win this year, it would be really great to see, most outstanding player from Texas. I don't know. I think that Tegan Kevon really earns that position. I don't know. There's a lot of people that I'm like, yeah. Like, of course, Jerry Candidates has earned most outstanding player award as well. So, you know what? We'll see. We'll talk about that in another segment. I have a lot to say about that. I'm excited for the games. Really recommend watching them. Finals are coming up. I believe it is 2 finals right now, but there might be a third one depending if that is needed. Lastly, we're going to talk about the most outstanding player from the 2004 World Series. That was Kristen Smith from LSU. She compiled a 1.72 ERA, allowing 10 runs, 36 hits, and 10 walks over 40.2 innings. A series best 44 strikeouts over 4 complete games made Smith stand out from the rest. Moreover, her 600 pitches and 4 complete games placed her in prime position to become the first most outstanding player in history not to participate in the championship game. Now that we covered the most outstanding players in the last 20 years, we are now going to move into our next segment where we talk about who is invited to the Gymnastics Olympic Trials. Before we get into that, we are going to be taking a quick break like usual, so I will see you guys very soon.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about the most outstanding players in the World Series these last 20 years, and now we're going to talk about the U.S. Olympic Gymnastics Trials. The people that were invited to compete at the trials were recently announced, and I'm very excited to go over the list with you guys. I'm also going to put in my predictions and opinions on everyone competing. So the U.S. Olympic Trials will last 2 days, and the athlete with the highest all-around score among competitors will automatically qualify for the Olympics. The athlete selection committee will choose the remaining 4 members of the team from the trials. Okay, so let's begin. So here are all the people that are competing at the trials. Let me pull up the picture. Okay, so we have Simone Biles from the World Champion Center, Skye Blakely from Woga Gymnastics, Jade Carey from Oregon State University, Dulcie Kaler from the World Champion Center, Jordan Chiles from World Champion Center as well, Kayla Harrison from Hills Gymnastics, Shalise Jones from Ascent Gymnastics Center, Suni Lee or Sunisa Lee from Midwest Gymnastics Center, Kalaya Lincoln from Woga Gymnastics, Evelyn Lowe from Great American Gymnastics Express, Zoe Malomo from Metroplex Gymnastics, Hesley Rivera from Woga Gymnastics, Jocelyn Robertson from World Champion Center, Simone Rose from Pacific Range Gymnastics, Tiana Sumanasekara from World Champion Center, and Leanne Wong from the University of Florida. I also just want to mention, because when I was looking at this list, when they posted it, I literally was like freaking out. I was like, wait, is this the order of the people that they like picked? Like, was this like, oh, first person we picked? Like, you know what I mean? Like, were they like, okay, first we want, like, how do you explain it? Like, they're like, this is first pick Simone, second pick Skye. And that would make sense, right? Because they were automatically going to the trials because they placed first and second at the Xfinity US Gymnastics Championships. But it's actually in alphabetical order. So I just want to make that clear that this has nothing to do with like rankings or anything, this list right here. This is just simply alphabetical order. I was like freaking out when I saw this. I was like, wait, is this the order? Anyway, I am really excited to see this list. This is like the perfect list. I feel like literally everyone that I was hoping to be at the trials is going to be there. So I'm literally so happy right now, like gonna cry out of happiness. Okay, so let's start talking about Simone Biles. Without a doubt, I think she's going to finish in first. She literally came in first in every single event at the Xfinity US Gymnastics Championships, and she took first in the all-around, obviously. She is one of the most decorated gymnasts, and her list of awards are extensive. But basically, I feel like I don't have to do much explaining for this. She just has that level of difficulty that is so much higher than everyone else. At the championships last weekend, her level of difficulty was so insanely high. For instance, when she did her vault on the second day, she fell the first one, but still got a score of 15.1. And that's because her level of difficulty is so dang high. I think that's pretty insane. When your level of difficulty is just that much higher than everyone else's, you are in your own field because you don't have to land your skills, but you'd still get an amazing score because of that difficulty. I don't know if that makes any sense, but what I'm trying to say is that if Biles comes out with the same level of difficulty she had for the last couple of meets, I have no doubt in my mind that she will come in first. Now let's talk about Skye Blakely. She came in second at the Xfinity US Gymnastics Championships. She really impressed me. She is very artistic-y and beautiful with her long legs and graceful movements, but I think she needs to work on small details on the floor to ensure that she can place in the top 3. I think she's going to end up placing second or third, or maybe even fourth, but more likely second or third. She just has to make sure that she stays in bounds because that's what got her last weekend. Blakely has not competed in the Olympic Games yet, so this is going to be a very exciting year for her. She participated in the 2021 trials, but did not make the team. I think this is going to be her year where she makes a team, and I'm hoping she does. She has shown a lot of improvement and promise in her junior and senior gymnastics career, competing in various national and international competitions. I really feel like this is going to be her year that we're going to see her on the Olympic team. Moving on to Jade Carey. Absolutely love her. She did great at the Xfinity Championships, but it wasn't her best competition considering she didn't finish in the top 5. Don't get me wrong, she did great finishing in 7th place, but it was her level of difficulty that could have been better in certain events, like the bars. It will be interesting to see if that she will maybe increase this level of difficulty at the trials, because it looks promising to a selection committee to be able to compete at that high of a level and secure points through the level of difficulty. I'm really hoping she makes the team, and I'm thinking that she will. She competed at the 2020 Olympics where she won a gold medal in the floor exercise. She has improved since then, and her floor routine this weekend was absolutely stunning, so she's a promising contender for the team. Like, it makes sense for them to go with her again. Now let's talk about Dulcie Kaler. I am so happy that she's going to the trials. She is 16 years old and so amazing for her age. I don't think she's going to be in the top 5 or maybe even the top 10 considering her level of difficulty. I don't think she's going to be on the team. I don't think this is going to be the year that she makes the team, but I'm confident that 2028 will be the year she competes at the Olympics if she does continue training at this level with intensity and decides on trying to compete at the Olympics at the next Olympics. I don't know, maybe this year she'll be considered for an alternate, but I think there are some other gymnasts on this list who are better at individual events that could be more valuable as alternates, if that makes sense. But still, I'm excited to see her compete. This is going to be a huge event for her and a huge part of her career for sure. Jordan Chiles, I absolutely love her. She competed at the 2020 Olympics and her team won silver, where she played a crucial role, competing in several events during the team finals. She finished in 5th at the Xfinity Championship, so I have high hopes that she's going to do amazing and place in the top 5 at the trials, securing a spot on the Olympic team. If she was on the team in 2020, it makes sense for her to be on the team again. That's my logic. She has improved a lot and she really has become a more mature competitor as she puts a lot of creativity, strength, and personality into her routines. Now let's talk about Kayla DiCello. She placed 3rd at the Xfinity Championship, so I think she's going to be in the top 5 once again at the trials. She has not competed at the Olympics, so this is a huge year for her. She has always been known for her skills at the collegiate level, and she's gotten a lot of attention in the past year. I'm pretty confident she will be on the team this year and maybe as an alternate, but she is really good at the bars. But she's really good at the bars, but she failed on her second day bar routine, which cost her a huge deduction from her score this weekend, yet she still placed 3rd. So I feel like that shows something about her. Like, if she's able to have that big deduction but still be able to place 3rd, like, that shows something about her, if that makes sense. Moving on to Shalise Jones, she did not compete at the Xfinity Championships and instead petitioned to the trials. 2 weeks ago at the Core Hydration Classics, Jones solidified herself as Team USA's strongest asset behind Simone Biles, finishing 2nd in the all-around competition and winning the uneven bars. But she had a shoulder injury that caused her to not be able to compete at the Xfinity Championship. So I am just a bit concerned as if she will be just as strong as she usually is at the trials. She doesn't really have much time to recover, and instead will have to keep pushing with the injury most likely. Without the shoulder injury, I think she would be a strong contender for the Olympic team and make it this year, but I'm not sure depending on how the injury is looking at the moment. I still do have a lot of confidence that she would be on the team, or maybe even as an alternate. Now let's talk about Sunisa Lee. She will definitely be on the team. She was on the 2020 Olympic team where she won the gold medal in the individual all-around competition. This victory made her the 5th consecutive American woman to win the all-around title at the Olympics. She also secured a bronze medal in the uneven bars and was part of the U.S. team that won the silver medal in the team competition. So I will literally lose my mind if she isn't on the team this year. Next, we have Kalia Lincoln. I don't think she is going to be making the team this year. She has not been to the Olympics before, and although she has done remarkably at other competitions, I don't think this is the year she will make the team. However, I think she will do well at the trials, and I'm probably wrong, but I am just not sure if this will be the year for her to make the Olympic team. Next, we have Evelyn Lowe. She has not competed at the Olympics, but she did very well at the Xfinity Championship, coming in 13th. She really impressed me. I don't think this will be her year that she makes the Olympic team as well, but if she continues training at this level that she has been and even improves, she definitely will be a strong contender for the 2028 Olympic team. She also is one of the younger competitors, so I just don't think this will be her year exactly. But still, there are so many amazing competitors that I'm like, I genuinely like feel like you should be there, but you can't have that many people on the team. You know, it's so tough. So there's still that's funny. There's still a couple of more people to get through, but because of time, we have to head to the next segment. So we're not going to finish the list. Instead, you will have to stay tuned for tomorrow's episode to hear about the rest of these gymnasts. So we're going to move on to the next segment where we talk about the PWHL draft. Before we get into that, we're going to be taking a short break. So I will see you guys very soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. This is our last segment today. I'm very excited to talk about it. So we just got done talking about those that were invited to the Gymnastics Olympic Trials, and now we're going to talk about the PWHL and do a little mock draft. It's very fun. So the 2024 PWHL draft will be held on June 10th, while the inaugural PWHL Awards will be held on June 11th. Both events will take place in downtown St. Paul. Teams can start to sign free agents on June 22nd for those who were not drafted or were not retained by their respective teams after the 2024 season. So in this segment, we're going to be doing a little mock draft, like I said. So let's just get right ahead to it because we have a lot to cover here with 24 people. So let me pull up some pictures. Okay, so of course we're starting with round one. I mean, that would make the most sense. Sarah Fillier for New York. A lot has been said about who New York might want, whether it's an American star like Hannah Bilka or a veteran like Amanda Nunes, but Sarah Fillier can help change the course of this franchise on the ice and in the locker room. She's also been playing less than an hour outside New York and in Princeton, so it makes sense for her to be drafted on the New York team. At Princeton University, Fillier really made a name for herself and really showed her hockey IQ. Next, for Ottawa, we have Danielle Serdacci, who played for Colgate University. Ottawa needs a top-line center who can push their depth down the middle into the third line, so there's something to play alongside Teresa Vanasova and provide another legitimate line. Ottawa also struggled in big moments, and at times they struggled offensively, so I think Serdacci would definitely help with this. For Minnesota, Hannah Bilka coming from Ohio State. Now, Minnesota could go with Kayla Barnes here, and they need another star defender, but it would be hard to pass on a top-line wing woman for Taylor Heiss. She's fast and dynamic, and watching Heiss and Bilka dash around the ice together for years to come would be very exciting. They would be an amazing duo to watch. For Boston, Claire Thompson. Boston wants a defender, and there's a reason to believe they are high on Thompson. She makes Boston faster, more offensively charged, and gives a running mate to Megan Keller. They need speed up and down the lineup, and Thompson can skate around everyone else, as we've seen. I can also see her as Ottawa's second pick. We'll see. She might not be able to stay on the board for that long enough for Boston to be able to pick her, though. It'll be interesting. We'll see. For Montreal, Kayla Barnes, also coming from Ohio State. She could really go anywhere from second to fifth in this draft. Despite her physicality, her international success, her NCAA talent, and her all-around strong play, a few general managers can wonder how much size will come into play in the PWHL next season. She's a two-way blue liner capable of shutting down and battling against the best in the world, and she would be a steal for Montreal. For Toronto, Britta Curl from Wisconsin. It sounds like the league is pretty much decided on Curl. She's a magnet to the puck and fits Toronto's on ice style perfectly. Now let's move on to round 2. For New York, Amanda Cassell. She has had a bad concussion history, so that would probably be alarming to New York, yet she's a solid pick. New York needs more leadership, more scoring, and more star power, and Kessel would bring that. With failure in round 1, putting Kessel on her wing gives you 2 dangerous lines in New York. It's a risky move. It's kind of like risk versus reward situation in a way, but the team needs a significant boost, and if Kessel can remain healthy, she could obviously help New York a lot. Daniela Pesova for Ottawa. Now Ottawa needs a blue liner, and the idea of bringing her in, a young player to coach Carla McLeod trust and has built and rapport with, is very logical for the team. She's a good skater, physical, and defends well. It makes a lot of sense for them to pick her. Next, we have Maya Nellen Person from Minnesota. This really depends on Minnesota's first round pick. If they go with Bilka, they'll likely take a defense here. If they go with Barnes, we could see them swoop in to save Abby Boren here, although that would be a large reach given the talent available. An island person would be an immediate upgrade to Minnesota's right side, allowing them to flip Maggie Flaherty back to her natural left-right. Their defensive group actually performed well in the playoffs, so they could wait another round if they wanted to take an NCAA defender, but Nyland Pearson won't last that long, I don't think, in the draft. For Boston, there's Nora Toulis. She's got dynamic speed, is tenacious in pursuit, and was the top scorer in Europe this year. This is a top-end player who will only get better surrounded by better players as the years goes on. Boston needs to find speed. If Bilka is available in round 1, it would be reason for them to abandon picking a defense. Otherwise, grabbing Toulis would give Boston's second line alongside Hillary Knight the speed that they need. For Montreal, Julia Gosling. She would likely get flipped to the left wing in Montreal, I think, and would immediately become a top-line player, probably. The size and speed of Marie Philip-Paulin, Lauren Stacey, and Julia Gosling would absolutely dominate the league with all of them together. For Toronto, and I am so sorry, I am not going to be able to say her name correctly at all, Rania Savalonen. She can join Toronto's power play, add size, and would take much needed pressure off of Toronto's top pairing. If an injury emerged, she's capable of playing top pairing minutes as well. She's a very versatile player, and I think Toronto would build a lot more skill as a team if she is picked. Now let's move on to round 3. First for New York, Allison Simpson from Colgate University. Simpson is a player who could easily end up in New York's top 4 immediately. As talented as her defenders are, they have gaps which often overlap, and Simpson would fill in some of those as a steady two-way defender who is one of only a handful of defenders who have upside to become a long-term top 4 blue liner with their team in this league. New York could also easily go all in on scoring depth here with the selection of Izzy Daniel, who can help their defensive woes from the front as a two-way contributor, or the speedy Anna Mexner. Next at 14 for Ottawa is Megan Carter from Northeastern University. Doubling down on defensive depth, if Ottawa took Megan Carter here, they'd have a fearsome blue line that few could question. Carter is tough, she's defensively reliable, and she has character. In short, she fitted on this team for sure. For Minnesota, we have Abby Boren. She shouldn't need to be picked here, I guess, but to avoid losing her to another team in the next round or two is basically why she sort of needs to be picked here. Boren adds another element to Minnesota they didn't have and would likely slot into their third line next season. But the good news for Minnesota is she's a known quantity who fits in the locker room and can contribute. For Boston, we got Izzy Danielle from Cornell. I just completely blanked out. I was focused on the fact that I just said Danielle instead of Daniel. Izzy Daniel. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. Talking about Daniel, taking her is a priority in a way. She's a creative two-way player and adds speed and compete to Boston's forward group. She would become another intelligent player up front who can contribute. I think it would be very smart if they took her, for sure. Next from Montreal, we have Sarah, and I'm so sorry, this is a last name too that I definitely will not be able to pronounce, Hallmarson. If you shift her to the wing, she can use her size to insert herself into dirty areas, and she can certainly add secondary production. It's a bit of a reach, but the upside is undeniable. But yeah, it is a bit of a reach. I see that. The last draft pick in round 3 is for Toronto, and that would be Jennifer Gardiner. Sorry, guys. I'm so bad at pronouncing names. From Ohio State. With the loss of Brittany Howard, Toronto needs immediate help on their left wing, and asking for Gardiner to take the third-line role, there is a position she can definitely thrive in, and it's necessary for Toronto. Moving on to round 4. First, for New York, we have Elle Hart from Yale. Adding intelligent two-way players who can score like her will help this franchise get on track and be more competitive night in and night out next year, for sure. Next, for Ottawa, we have Klara Hymlarova. There's a logical third-line left wing spot open in Ottawa behind Emily Clark and Dara Watts if they can re-sign her, and Hymlarova would provide the best of both worlds. Here's a player who can check and create offensively. If an injury occurs, she can shift in the middle, or she can even play defense. Like, she's a very versatile player, and she's an intelligent player. Number 21 for Minnesota, Anna Mexner. Minnesota has no easy answer for what way to go on this pick, so after digging in early for Burin, taking best available makes sense here. Anna Mexner is facts, experience, and can finish. If Minnesota didn't take Bilka in round 1 and instead opted for Barnes, this pick would make even more sense, adding to their speed up front. Mexner would be an offensive upgrade for Minnesota's current right wing and plays a similar style to their group of forwards. We have 3 more to get through. For Boston, Sydney Barr from Colgate. She would be a smaller, skilled puck player. Is that even a phrase that I just made up? I think that's a phrase I just made up. She would be a skilled player to pick over the Boston's blue line, and she plays beyond her size, inserting herself physically and using her skating and skills to take away time and space. She would be invaluable for Boston, I think. For Montreal, Naomi, and I'm really sorry, I'm so bad at pronouncing last names, and any name in general. Narbarova. I'm really sorry, guys. Montreal didn't trust their depth in the playoffs, as we know, but she would be someone they can trust, I think. She's a physical forward who can check and rise to big games. She's really good under pressure. I think it'd be smart for them to take her. Lastly, for Toronto, Stephanie Markowitz from Ohio State. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long day. Ohio State. Odds are Toronto will want another blue liner here, and Markowski. Oh my gosh, did I say Markowitz? Markovsky. Oh my gosh, Stephanie Markovsky. Markovsky? Oh my gosh, now I'm like losing my mind. Guys, I'm so tired. So sorry. Oh my gosh, wow. Guys, I'm losing my mind right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, I meant to say that I'm so sorry. I'm very tired, I guess. I'm not tired. I have a lot of energy, but at the same time, like, my brain is like, sometimes names get to me, okay? Markovsky. That's, okay, there we go. Stephanie Markovsky. Okay, she's a good fit here. If Toronto wants another blue liner, it would be interesting to see if they reach for Rylan McKinnon here or wait until later to take her. She can block shots. She's a good enough skater to get up the ice into a rush, and she competes hard. I think she'd be invaluable to the team. So that concludes our show for today. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I'm so sorry that I'm really bad at pronouncing names sometimes. I sincerely apologize. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSMC Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you guys once again, and have a wonderful day.
Let's go.